Today I'm smoking the Aganorsa leaf. What do they call this? The Supreme Leaf by Aganorsa Leaf. Just so you know, it seems like the color's really washed out. There's no way I can fix it, huh? No. Oh, all right. Nobody's here anyway, so. While no one's here, I'm gonna light up. Now 2 people are here, and I'm still lighting up. Once again, this is the Aganorsa Leaf Supreme Leaf. Or basically the Supreme Leaf by Aganorsa Leaf. I figured I would light up, and then I figured, hey, I go live. And, you know, say some stuff, rant about some things. I saw a video. Hey now, what's happening? It's Friday, that's all I know. So it's the end of the week for me. Went to the gym this morning, did my last cardio for the week. God, I wish I could get it darker. Anyways. Hey Charlie. So I got that out of the way. What else is going on? Let me see if I can angle this better. Hold on. I feel like it's not doing it for me. Maybe this. Hold on, let's try this. Let me try the cutter. Acting like a wedge. It's not high enough. All right, give me a second here. Let me figure it out. This was working. All right, that's better. All right. All right. Hey Maurice, this is a good cigar. I got this relatively cheap and it's very good. I honestly don't know what they would normally go for. Probably, I think these are it's like a $10 cigar. I think I picked them up for $5. There's a guy who smokes down at Mr. J's. In fact, I called the owner of Mr. J's today because we're gonna do a podcast out of there soon. On my cigar channel, which is just a bunch of guys talking cigars. It'll be me and Chuck from the DL show, but then the other 2 guys will be the guys that work at this cigar lounge. One of the guys is the owner. Very knowledgeable guys about cigars. So basically 2 very knowledgeable guys about cigars, and then Chuck and I, so a couple of knuckleheads. But it'll be fun because Chuck and I, for being a couple of knuckleheads, we really like the strong cigars. In fact, I was talking to the guy the other day at the shop and was telling him what my favorite was, and the guy thought I was crazy. He's like, that thing's unsmokable. I'm like, no, it's good. Trust me, it's good. I gotta tell you, the guitar shit on YouTube for me is so done. I mean, I don't mind like when I see like people teaching stuff. I never watch any of this stuff. In fact, that's not true. I was watching a channel and they brought up a band and I'm like, ooh, I should do a lesson on this song. But I wonder if anyone does a lesson on it. So I watched this guy who has a lot of followers and he did a lesson on it and he wasn't playing it properly and it didn't sound right. And I was like, fuck me. This means now I gotta go learn it and go listen to it from here. And I'll just say it's not on the guitar. So I had to go, really took me, I don't know, 10 minutes. I mean, it's only like 8 bars, but honestly, I was like, fuck. But I think I got it to exactly how he plays it on the record. And then I watched him play it live after I figured out what I thought it went, just to see if I was in the ballpark. and all my fingering is right there where his is. He just doesn't do one little pull off, but I can hear it clearly on the record, so I know that he's just not doing it live. So that lesson will be out on Monday. But I was kind of like, that's how the lessons things go when I watch people teach lessons. I'm always like, just never happy about it. Which side is the camera on? Hold on. Is that the camera? Or is it over? Okay, so it's over here. I just want to know where to look. Hold on, let me see if, live chat. All right, I put it on live chat. All right. So I have that coming out on Monday, and then Monday night we'll be doing the DL show again. I think the last couple of weeks of the DL show have been spot on. They've been fun to do, quick in, quick out. During the week, Chuck and I and Krellbauer will talk about some of the issues and go over some of the stuff, which I'm starting to think now is a bad idea because they're very vocal when we talk about it, just in a cigar lounge. When we get on the air, then the two clam up because we've already had the conversation. And I'm like, you got to have it again. Like, that's the whole point of it. So I'm not going to really disclose too much to them anymore of what I want to discuss because I feel like it takes them out of that instant surprise to discuss it. I was watching a video, it came up in my feed today, and it really irritated the hell out of me. The guy's name is like Living Room something, RDDR something, I don't know what the hell it is. But the guy says, his video says, I hated the Stratocaster until I played this one. Then I see what it is, and it's the video of the guy who I watched building a Stratocaster, and this kid is going on about his Stratocaster. Well, the guy builds it pretty much to spec from 1962, which you can find many custom shops from Fender that do it that way, and they make them very well. And the other thing they do is they also make it with a 9.5 radius because the 7.25 radius sucks. So to sit there and say like, oh, so this guy 62 was the only one I've ever played and I never liked a Strat until I played this. Before I hit the video, I was saying to myself, bullshit. That's just fucking him trying to clickbait everybody by saying he hated the Strat until this Strat came out. So then I watched this video, and his video is basically saying how he had a Washburn Strat, I think the very first Strat he ever had, so he hated that Strat. But over the past few years, he's fallen back in love with the Strat, and that this was his favorite Strat. So instantly I was like vindicated. I'm like, of course, because it's a misleading thing to say I hated the Strat until I played this, because you didn't hate the Strat. You liked the fucking Strat. You just didn't fucking have this one that you fucking really love. But that's, who cares? Tomorrow you could find another one that you like even better. But to me, it's just all the appointments of a traditional 62. And for me, I would say, who gives a shit? I don't care. Like, I'm so over these people talking about, oh, you never played that instrument till you played this. Fuck off. I pulled out a Strat today out of my guitars. It wasn't a Strat, it's a 17th Street that John Carruthers built. And it's fucking sensational. And I forgot how great it played and how good the neck feels. Even though I felt the neck was a little thin and I had somebody make a V out of it. It's a great playing guitar with stainless steel frets and a compound radius and Godot tuners and bridge. It's great. It's great. I'd put it up against any Strat, but I wouldn't sit there and be, the next Strat that I play that's like a fantastic Strat, I wouldn't say, I hated the Strat until I played this, because that's bullshit. And that guy was bullshit. It's just a fucking click thing. And I will never watch another video that guy makes because I just think it's douchey. You know what? I don't know anything about the guy. I don't know what his credentials are, but I don't care because that move was douchey. It reminds me of the way when Paul Davids, I think his name is, makes videos, and he just clickbaits you like, nobody plays this AC/DC song correctly. No, I think everybody plays it right. I think you're getting into the minuscule. You may have saw somebody play it wrong or count it wrong, and now you're thinking everybody does that, but that's bullshit. And it's clickbait, and it sucks. And it's like, if this is what you're watching, and I know on my show, Dane loves to fucking back up these people and be like, well, it's for the beginner. No, it's out there in the YouTube world and it's bullshit clickbait, and he's just doing it to get clicks. And people will watch, oh, he hated the Strat until he played this. I hate the Strat. Maybe I'll find a guitar that I like. Yeah, fuck off. I just can't stand it. Sorry if I'm being, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. Anyway, how's the audio? I got a little space heater over here keeping me warm. I'm in the garage. It's like 30 degrees outside. Charlie F., what's happening? Well, thanks, Charlie. Yeah, I'm just saying, it irritated the living hell out of me. Because it's just nonsense. Just like that kid who says, I put Stevie Ray's string gauge on my guitar. Okay, who cares? Who gives two fucks what string gauge you put on your guitar? If you didn't put the string gauge on your guitar because that's what you wanted, and you have to go through the whole fucking setup of setting up the bridge and the tension on the neck and the relief and everything else, then you're a fucking idiot. You're doing it for views so you can sit there and say, I put Stevie Ray Vaughan's gauge. Well, who gives a shit? And which ones did you put on? He has 11s on one guitar, 13s on another, but he's tuned down. And it doesn't matter. Billy Gibbons played with 7s. Who cares? That doesn't mean you have to play with 7s. If you like the way 7s feel, play with 7s. But I don't know why people have a discussion of what gauge strings people play. I used to know a kid who used to always sit there and say, I played with 11s. I'm like, oh, that's good for good. Now I know why you can't bend in tune. You're always flat because you're struggling to bend the fucking string. You know, it's like, but they want to tug on their suspenders that they're using a heavy gauge. I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care what gauge string you use. I don't care what picks you use. I don't care if you think a pick affects the tone. If you think it affects the tone, I feel sorry for you. Because then we're going to go through every record and you can tell me what pick the guitar player used. And I guarantee you have no fucking idea. It's all nonsense. It's stupid stuff that people try to sell you. You know? Back in the old days, people would use a treble boost to hit the front end of the amplifier and hit it harder. Now what that did was it kept the integrity of the pickups, the way the pickups compress and the way the pickups sound, by going into, Charlie. Well, he also played Strats. He played, well, back in the day he played Strats, but in fact I think Hendrix gave him a Strat too because that's what he played. But anyways, what I was saying about the pickups is, so you hit these pickups and you go into a treble boost, and then that goes in and hits the front end of the amp. And then I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the line, people thought like, well, I could just use heavier, higher output pickups, but they don't sound as good. They compress too much. They sound thin to me. And yes, they're hitting the amp's front end harder, but not that much harder. I mean, we're talking, not that much harder. I mean, we're talking, what, maybe 100, 200 millivolts, not even. I mean, it's not that much harder. So you're slamming it, but you're giving up you're giving up the uncompressed sound, which is why Jimmy Page sounds bigger. And the early Judas Priest stuff, like British Steel, sounds bigger than modern metal records, where they're just slamming the front end with pickups. You know, when you hear like Slipknot, I love Slipknot, but I think those tones on those guitars are nothing I would ever want. They just don't sound good. So, I don't know, somewhere along the lines, people lost the concept, and pickup companies are like, you know, you got guys like Seymour Duncan telling people, oh, this pickup is designed for like ash bodies. Well, you are a fucking liar. Yeah, I don't know anything about fake playing because I don't really watch the playing stuff. I find it all boring. I got to tell you, like to me, even as a kid growing up, like when I was really into metal and really into all the shred guitar players, for me, it was like the songs had to be there. And if they weren't there, I wouldn't even mention it to people that I was listening to it because I was trying to cop licks like off like Ingve's first album or second album, they're marching out. But Alcatraz, I thought that was a great album. And the Michael Schenker stuff I thought was great on the MSG first two albums. Actually, I like all four. I think the one with Graham Bonnet's probably the worst of the three. I can't think of, Salt Attack is the worst of the three of the first four. But I'm not a big fan of Michael Schenker and UFO because I just don't think the songs are good. I don't like the songs. So to me, songs are everything. So when you have this band that's out there now, Rick Beato's interviewing the guy, it just comes up on my feed. I never click on this shit, but like some guy from Polyphy, whatever the fucking name of the band is, I could give two shits because I heard one song from that band and that's not a song. Yeah. Yeah, the reaction videos, it's just, you know what it is? We live in a world now where people want their opinion to be the only opinion, and that's the only one that matters. I watched, there was a thing today on Twitter. Somebody posted a thing about Damar Hamlin walking in like the Bills and he could barely walk, and people were like, that's not him, you're spreading lies. And he's like, well, I don't know if it's him or not, but it definitely wasn't him at the football game. Like, why are they having him shot from a distance, no close-up of the face, but to show that he's okay? Making a lot of good points, and everyone's like, you gotta take this down, take it down. Nobody wants anyone else's opinion or contrarian opinion to come across unless it goes with your narrative. And it's the same way when it comes to music. You know, it's like all these people are like, and I see some female vocalist and she's watching a video and I'm watching the same video and the guy is pitchy as hell. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Jeff Tate Live where he wasn't that great, but she was just going off on how wonderful he was. And I'm like, you're a fucking liar. Because I used to produce people, and I'll tell you right now, if somebody came in that pitchy on a track, I'd be like, yeah, get him out of here. I can't do this all day. It was terrible. And so, but you know, they take the live clips because they don't get dinged from the record labels when they use a live clip or a live clip that they know is cleared. But whether the singer's good or bad, they're always going to say it's great. They're always going to say, oh, this guy's so wonderful, and the way he does this and the way he does that. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't think so. It's okay to say somebody wasn't on. If you want to sit there, like Ken Tamblyn is a little bit more honest because he'll sit there and say, well, he was pitchy here. Not that that reflects on him as a singer, but it reflected on that particular day. And I was like, thank you, Ken Tamblyn, because now somebody's finally calling it out and saying, listen, what I'm playing you is not perfect. But these people are like, oh my God, this is so wonderful. I want somebody to say, yeah, I don't get it. That would be normal to me. If you don't get it, don't get it. But don't sit there and tell me that some kid or some college kid never heard Pink Floyd Time before and they're gonna openly weep during the listen. Give me a fucking break. It's all bullshit. It is complete and utter horseshit. And that's not anything I'm interested in watching. And you know what the funny thing is like, so I watch a couple of conservative guys and they do the same fucking thing. They sit there and they'll be like, oh, Carrie Lake has him by the balls now, or she says like, Carrie Lake has a big win. And then they tell you what the news story is and it's not a big win. It's, yeah, she filed. Okay, she filed. Well, write in the fucking thing, Carrie Lake filed, and I'll go listen to your thing. But I'll tell you, you fool me once, you know, shame on you. But fool me twice, shame on me, because I won't click it again. And it's all these different channels, they do it. And I'm like, so it's like YouTube is becoming quite a fucking bore. Now all I do is watch the Sopranos shit. I love the Talking Sopranos, podcast with Steve Shripper and Michael Imperioli. They're fucking great. They go over each episode, they talk about it, they bring on a guest and talk about their career on the show. It's a great, interesting show. And then Meadow on the show, Jamie Lynn, I can't remember what her last name is, and Robert Eiler. They have a Sopranos podcast called Pajama Party, and that's fun. They have some third guy on the show, I think that's friends with Robert. I don't really know what he does on the show, other than, he's a member, but he's a friend of theirs, but he had nothing to do with the show. But it's basically a podcast, and they have the Sopranos on. But yeah, they're very, very good watches to watch on YouTube, I think, anyways. I mean, that's what really all I watch on that are those. I'm trying to think what else I watch on YouTube. I was watching a couple of videos last night about the making of the movie Megan, because I want to see that. I see it's on Prime, and they want $20 because it's still in the theater. So I'll wait. I'll wait till it's $3 or $4 and I'll watch it. It looks great. Go gets a little fucking doll. The doll goes on a killing spree. How can you not like it? But so I've been watching a bunch of, and you've seen one, then you've seen them all, because they all, I watched two of them and I'm like, this is the same fucking clips. It's the same thing. It's just all marketing stuff from the studio, which, whatever. But yeah, the music stuff, I really had a hard time with that. I was watching a couple of channels. This one guy had a thing about albums that people liked that he hated. Well, he said were the worst albums. And I was with him right along the way until he said The Final Cut by Pink Floyd. And then I'm like, I gotta shut this guy off. I disagree. And not that I want to hear someone disagree. When I heard his comments about it, I just disagreed with his musical taste. And then I was like, oh, actually, I watched an album after that. And it was another one I liked. And I was like, all right. Joe Herave, what's happening? Yeah, I agree. Let me tell you, there's nothing better than just relaxing, hanging out with some friends of mine and smoking cigars. Yeah, I like grunge, but that's it. Like, if I did a video on grunge, you won't watch it. And I don't care. I don't care if you don't watch my video about grunge, because it's not for you, but the people that like grunge. But if I sat there and tried to frame it in a way where, oh, we should all like everything I like, no, I don't care. And people get like, I did a couple of reaction videos, but they were real reaction videos. I didn't listen to it until I watched it, which was a Wishbone Ash song, and I fucking hated it. I fucking hated it. It didn't hit me. I had a lot of problems with it. Could I go back and give it another listen? I have. I still don't like it. It's just not for me. But people got so fucking butthurt about it and started attacking me. They were like, oh, who the fuck are you? I'm just a fucking guy doing it. I mean, hey, Artemis, what the fuck is with the dude that's like a classical composer listens to Black Sabbath? I've never clicked on it because, first of all, who's the classical composer? I've never seen the guy before, and I don't give a fuck. And I hate when people argue. If you want to argue with me about anything, argue and make your points. The second you come from a place of authority, the conversation's over. If you sit there and say, oh yeah, well, I'm a doctor and I know, fuck you. You want to pull authority on me? Argue your points and then move the fuck along. I'll argue my points and we'll try to convince each other that way. But the second someone postures authority, so when I see like guitar teacher looks at, who cares? Oh, you're a guitar teacher, so now you're authority on this guy's guitar playing? Fuck the hell off. Oh yeah, I love the Country Music Hall of Fame guy. I love the old country players. Hey, what's going on, Joe? Yeah, so my whole point is like anytime somebody will, I like to argue. I say a lot of controversial things on my show, knowing that I'm waiting for somebody to argue, especially on my panel, and I'm always like, guys, you're not going to say anything to that? Like, I go back and watch a show once in a while when I'm doing cardio, and I'm like, how come nobody fucking argued with me? I know Krellbar and Chuck don't agree with me, and they won't argue on the show. And I'm like, argue with me, get vocal, and get me your points. And those guys, when we do argue, like Chuck and I go back and forth, and he's great at arguing because he has his opinion, and I respect his opinion. He respects mine, and we always disagree about stuff. Never once do I sit there and say, well, it's not about a place of authority. It's just, when I say I'm a musician to him or produce with drums, I'm talking about, I get the technical aspect of it, which to a lot of people don't matter. And he tells me that doesn't matter to him, and I get it. Why does that look like something's on my shirt? Oh, might have been the cut from the cigar. So I get it, you know what I mean? I'm like, what do you want to do? What do I do with the restaurant business? All right, you run the joint now. That's a little good fellas for you. So, like I said, so when I see people post videos from a place of authority, it fucking makes my blood boil. Classical composer listens to Ozzy for the first time. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. Who the fuck are you? Oh, you're a classical composer? Oh yeah, let me hear one of those fucking great scores you wrote. It's like, give me a fucking break. Oh, you're a English guitarist listens to, fuck off. What does that have to do with anything? Put your fucking name up there and just say some guy you never heard of and don't know is giving his opinion. That's, what do you have to come from a place of authority? Classical composer listens to fucking Pantera for the first time. Well, fuck off. I don't care. Go listen to it in your own time. Oh, I'm supposed to listen to you now? Now the Pantera fan's gonna be like, did you hear what that classical guy said? That classical guy said he was good. So now he's good because that validates it. No, it just means another douchebag likes it. Doesn't mean anything. You know when something's good? If you like it. That's it. If you like it. If I like it, it doesn't matter. It only matters to me because I, to myself, am the only person who exists on this planet because I can't prove that anybody else exists. I know they're there, but I don't know that they have the, it's one of those existential things. Do you really know that that person exists? Everyone could be in their own fucking matrix world. You don't know. I don't know. So I can only prove that I exist. So therefore, the only thing, if I like it, it's good. If I don't like it, it sucks. But that means you could like it, and it's good for you. What do I care? I don't care. But if you want to argue like, oh, I don't like that guitar tone. I talk about pickups. You might like that fucking guitar tone. I don't know, but I don't care. For me, I just don't like it. And I'm just ranting and raving like a fucking idiot. What can I do? That's just what I'm doing. It's more about even if you disagree with everything I'm saying, I just want to be entertaining. It's just about entertaining people. There's 19 people here. I'm going off like a lunatic on shit no one cares about anyways. But I'm just saying, classical musician listens to Megadeth. Oh, that's so wonderful. I'm so glad this classical composer listened to Megadeth. Does the classical composer know how to keep time? Because I've never met a I met a classical violinist that can keep time. That's about it. Nobody else. If you're not there conducting them with the fucking wand and letting them know what the tempo is, forget it. I actually had a cellist once tell me that the drums were out of time on a track I had him play on. It was Vinnie Colaiuta on the drums, and he was playing to a click and flawless. And I'm like, that's out of time to you? I'm like, I am fucked. If this guy hears time, that fucked up. I'm like, and there's my fucking classical musician. Classical musician listens to fucking Michael Schenker Group and fucking, it's like, oh, really? Oh, I like Michael Schenker Group. I wonder what he says. No, I don't care what he says. I don't give a fuck. So I had a great cigar last night, that's sidetracking off my fucking usual hothead shit, but I had a great cigar last night. If you smoke cigars, Rocky Patel has been in the business for quite some time, I think over 20 years. And 20 years ago, he came up with a cigar called The Edge. And it's still being made to this day. It's still good. It wasn't as good as it was when it first came out. And I think he kind of knew that and went back and this year made the 20th anniversary Edge where he blended it to taste like the original Edge. And I'm telling you, it's fucking fantastic. So if you get a chance and you find the Rocky Patel Edge 20th anniversary, I highly suggest. In fact, I have my little travel humidor with me. Yes, it's yellow. And this is the cigar right here. Whoop. Really good. Now, my favorite cigar of all time is this one right here. This is the Dunbarton Todos Los Dias. A little too strong for most people, I would say. Joe, did you get a chance to smoke that yet, the Todos Los Dias? Because it's an excellent smoke. How's the sound in the picture? Because it keeps going from being super bright to dark. I don't know. Ooh, like there. What is that? One of those bulbs is So I broke out every day. I've been playing a different guitar. I think I'm going to do a video. Tell me if you guys want me to do a video where I might do a guitar of the week, and each week just show a different guitar that I have. Because man, these guitars are playing so good. I played 3 in the last few days. I played the yellow Strat, which played fantastic. Then I pulled out my Rebel Relic Telly that looks like a Cabronita, but it's nicer. And oh my God, that played so great. I actually took that out to a student the other day to play that, to teach with that. It was so nice. And then today I broke out my 17th Street Strat, and that thing played so good. I don't know, whatever the humidity has been in the air, that right now, my guitars are all playing out of the case perfect, like no tweaking. I really want to break out my Music Man bass. I've been listening to a lot of soul music and a lot of funk lately when I drive, and it gets me hungry to play the bass again. So I'm like, and that's pretty easy to set up, because even if the neck moves a little bit because of the humidity, it's a Ernie ball, so it has the wheel. And it's real easy to put the relief or take the relief out of the neck. It's just great. So I love that bass. Oh, it's nice and warm in here too with that. That heat is awesome. $25 heater at Target, thing does the trick. That's in my Amazon order shipped. Yep, I know it's on its way. It's coming tomorrow. And I just got an email from Rocky Patel. He's trying to sell me cigars. Folks, if you can, hit the like button. If you're liking this, there's 18 people in the room. There's only 13 likes. You know what bothers me? I'll tell you what bothers me. When I watch a show, a YouTube video, and before the thing starts, they say, please like and subscribe. Why don't I watch the video and see if your video is worth me liking and subscribing? Don't tell me because I clicked on it within the first minute, now you want me to like and subscribe, and we're looking at a 20-minute video that I haven't watched yet. Why the fuck would you say it before? Don't forget to like and subscribe. How about fucking wait till I fucking see if I even want to watch your channel again? For fuck's sake. I don't get it. Anyways, I just ate a fucking ginormous ribeye steak that was so good. I didn't know if I was going to eat again today. I had breakfast this morning. I had 4 meatballs that I made with pork panko instead of breadcrumbs, and then I used just beef and egg. They were good. And I had it with 2 eggs, but boy, it was like tons of fat. It was the meat was like I used 73-27 beef, so it was really heavy in the fat, and boy. And then I had my bulletproof coffee, which has the saturated fat from the MCT oil and the butter. I use a third of a stick of butter. So I was stuffed. But I was like, I don't want to eat too late tonight. So I figured, well, you know what? Let me have a steak now. And that way I won't eat. But I probably could have gone the whole day and night without eating. I was so like satiated. And how embarrassing is that the USDA dietary guidelines for people. I mean, what's the Rebelsis? What the hell's the name of that one? I watched another commercial today. There's Ozempic, Rebelsis, everything trying to bring your A1C down. Yeah, I got a great idea. If you really give a fuck about your health and you want to get your A1C down, stop eating what they recommend because they're poisoning you. They tell you to stay away from saturated fats, but only eat unsaturated fats. That's poison. Does anybody even realize what unsaturated fat means and what they have to do to that fat to make it oil? It's a pure chemical process that your body just does not enjoy. It's not food. Saturated fat has all the fucking vitamins that you need, all the fatty acids, the essential fatty acids. It has vitamin K2, it has vitamin D and vitamin A. And the other thing is nutrient deficient food. And somehow the fucking world has fooled you to tell you that saturated fat was the unhealthy fat. However, before 1900, nobody ever had type 2 diabetes. Nobody ever had heart attacks from atherosclerosis, however you pronounce that. Nobody had those. There were no cases of those. And saturated fat was the only fat you could eat. So then, let me think, we bring in seed oils or vegetable oils or whatever you want to fucking call it to make yourself happy. And then those numbers start coming up. It goes from 0 to 100. And saturated fat's the problem. You got to be mental. They tell you to eat 6 grains a day. I mean, it's just insane. Let me tell you, if you want to get fat, if your job is, let's say you got an acting job, and they say, listen, we need you to put on 60 pounds, you're gonna get fat. I would say go fucking eat according to the USDA dietary guidelines. You'll get fat. You'll get fat as a house, and you're gonna have fucking risk of heart attack, risk of stroke, risk of type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. You'll get their dietary guidelines is a path to insulin resistance. That's all it is. So I've been watching this one guy. He used to be the carnivore doctor, and now he includes fruit because he feels like fruit is still healthy. But he doesn't eat a ton of it. He just says it cures his sugar fix, but I don't. It's not for me. I don't care. When I want something sweet, I'll take a sip of diet soda and put a little heavy cream in there. So I have some fat in there and it satiates me. What else is going on? I have a student, and every time we do a lesson, we go down a rabbit hole of looking up guitar amps. He's really, really interested in the Gemino Club 40. And that's a great amp. Club 40 is basically like a super bass in 50 watt. It's basically a 50 watt super bass. Well, what was the 50 watt? Is that a 1986? Is the 1987 a 50 watt plexi? I think so. So it's the model's 1986, and then Germino clones them. It's not an amp for me, but my buddy really loves it. So we were watching a bunch of demos, and there's so many great boutique small built amps. You really can't go wrong. The only thing you can go wrong is listening to the demos because, I mean, they don't know how to EQ anything on those things. Everything sounds like a guy playing an amp when he was just playing by himself and thinks that's how it's going to sound good, but it never sounds good. Like if I listen to perfect example is I love Michael Schenker Group, but his guitar tone is really not for me. It's so dark and in the mix and all over the place that I feel like if a real producer went in there and EQ'd his amp and made that record sound better, they would have been a much bigger band. Because I love Gary Barton's voice, but the recording just stinks. I've been listening to a lot. Here's a question, and you guys in the chat. What do you think the best Scorpions album is with Oli? So you have Fly to the Rainbow, In Trance, Virgin Killer, or Taken by Force. I'm not including Tokyo Tapes because that's like a live album and everyone always like, oh, the live? Yeah, okay, enough. Which studio album from the Scorpions with Oli do you think is the best one? Don't all shout out the answer at once. Anybody? Bueller? Does anyone know these albums? Am I talking to myself? Is this thing still on? Oh, here we go. Oh, see, I can even see all these chats. Sometimes this chat doesn't come up. Oh, hey now, Hugh's here. Hey Hugh, I just saw you now. Oh yeah, bacon's the best. And it satiates you. You feel full from it and you can use, like, while I have it, I do need all bad infections. Bad knees, all right, Joe Harvey is, Dave, I'm playing on my PC, so many plugins and effects. Okay, don't know them, sorry. I'm here, I'm yapping. Okay, yeah, I just had to catch up because I wasn't seeing any of that. Hugh, I'm with you. I go through about 8 pounds of bacon a week. I eat a lot of bacon. When I tell people what I eat, like my typical breakfast is 3 eggs scrambled with smoked salmon and cream cheese. Can you tell I'm a Jew? And I scramble that up and it's fucking great. And I have it with 4 slices of bacon. Yeah, exactly. That's me. Where else are you gonna get salmon, cream cheese, and eggs? And fucking, I eat that. I mean, like, I literally made meatballs a couple of days ago and was having them, finishing them out. I finished them today. And tomorrow morning, I go right back to my salmon. There you go. A tribesman, Joe. You're a tribesman. So it goes, I go right back to that. Yeah, but Love Drive is not Oli. Love Drive is, I think Michael and Matthias play on Love Drive together, don't they? One guy takes half it. I think half the album is one, half is the other. Oh yeah. Oh, you have no idea, Joe. My friend Jen busts on me all the time. She's like, when I tell her I bought bacon at what price, she's like, of course you did. You sniffed it out. I'm like, you fucking know it. I had to get new jeans. I went to Bob's discount store and I found like really nice jeans for like 20 bucks. She was like, yep, of course you did. Slide It In by Whitesnake is severely overlooked. It's easily Whitesnake's best album. Oh, okay. Well, Joe, I'll tell you, I've listened to all of them in the last 2 weeks. And so I'll tell you, like, Fly to the Rainbow has a special place for me because I grew up on that album probably the most. But I think the 2 best is going to either be, I really like In Trance too, but I think Taken by Force or Virgin Killer, and I haven't decided between those 2. Right now, That's going to be the tiebreaker, and I'll listen to them again both this week coming up. But Taken by Force is outstanding. But Virgin Killers is really good. Which one has Catch Your Train? Pictured Life and Catch Your Train. That's Virgin Killer? I think I like that one better. Right now, that's edging it out. And I think Taken by Force is the one that has We'll Burn the Sky. If that's the opening track, or I can't remember what the opening track was. That might be track 2. It's great. The only thing I can say is it's amazing to me that that's still Dieter Dirks producing, because the sound isn't as good as like when Matthias got in the band. There's a complete change in sound. When you get to like Animal Magnetism, it becomes a much more mature sound and like a better produced band. Now, I don't know if it's because he was listening to records or what was coming out at the time, like Back in Black or Heaven and Hell, because Martin Birch stepped up his game around 1980. And so many people around that time started stepping up that game. And Dieter Dirks is no fucking exception. Because Blackout is a fucking great recorded album. Love at First Sting is a phenomenally recorded album. You know, it's just the production is really great. Steam Rock Fever. Okay, and then We'll Burn the Sky. Yeah, so I think I like Virgin Killer. I think for me it edges it out, but they're both great fucking records. And anyone that would sit there and say any one of the four, if somebody wanted to come in here and argue that says In Trance is the best, I'm all ears, because I think fucking Dark Lady alone is fantastic. Let alone what else is on that album? Robot Man's on that record. I mean, that's a great album. In Trance is fantastic. So, I mean, they're all great. So it's just really like, I think the most overlooked of them is Fly to the Rainbow. I think Drifting Sun with Uli singing is fantastic. I think Fly People Fly is great. Speedy's Coming. It's a good record. Overlooked. I think after Slide It In, I think Coverdale might have been broke after that album. They were not doing well. And of course, the 1987 album, Whitesnake, saved their ass. Like that was them making their comeback. But they did have a minor hit with, in the States, they had Slow and Easy. But I think Slide It In is like one of the best rock albums. There's a couple of rock albums that I think shouldn't be overlooked. I think Billy Squier, Don't Say No is another one. And the producer on that record is a guy named Reinhold Mack, who I think is fucking awesome. He was the engineer on all the ELO shit, and he produced Queen the Game, and then he produced Billy Squier. I did like Coverdale and Deep Purple. I really like the album, the one after Burn, and I'm just blanking on it now. It's a fucking great record. The title track's great, and I'm blanking on the name. Yeah, in fact, I mean, Deep Purple, Fireball's, that's Ian Gillan. But what was the, Stormbringer. Stormbringer's fantastic. I love that record. After that, when they had Come Taste the Band with the other guitar player, I wasn't crazy about. In fact, here's my opinion of Deep Purple, and I know Joe's going to get upset. Chuck gets mad at me when I tell him. All the offshoot bands from Deep Purple were better than Deep Purple. I think Rainbow, I think Rainbow with Dio and Rainbow with Joe Lynn Turner was better. And I think that and I think Whitesnake was a better band. Death metal, I mean, I could do with, I used to listen occasionally to Gorgoroth just because I found it funny. But for the most part, I find it boring. I just think that, like, it's dark to be dark and not, I find that it's, like, not very melodic. You know what I mean? And I prefer melody. Like I'm more of a song guy. I want to hear a good song. So to me, the songs are what was like is what's key. It's what's important. So yeah, I don't love death metal, but I listen to everything. Like I listen to all styles of music. Like and Hugh in the chat is very much the same way. We could talk. I mean, I could talk to Hugh. Actually, I don't know if he's a metal guy, but I could talk to Hugh about these. Hey now, now, sing this corrosion to me. Like Sisters of Mercy, and we could talk about I've been waiting for tomorrow all my life, and we could talk about funk music, disco. We could talk about soul, Philly soul. I listen to everything. Like so, I really like funk music. I love anything that has like that great bass. And you know what's funny? You know who's a musician that you guys would be shocked to find out. You remember the song Forget Me Nots by Patrice Rushen? When she was like 18 years old, right out of high school, got signed to a jazz label. She's a fucking phenomenal jazz pianist. And her jazz music is fucking great. I mean, it's amazing. And it wasn't making her any money. And she put a group together and put out that record with Forget Me Nots. And I think the jazz world kind of snubbed her. They were like all mad, but Forget Me Nots is a great fucking song. But she is 10 times the player. Like, I mean, people sit there and say, this is what drives me nuts. It's like people like, you can like Elton John, but don't tell me he's the greatest piano player. He's an all right piano player. He's not going to win any fucking awards. If he went into Juilliard school, every player in there would probably be better. But he's a good player, and just like Clapton, for me, I love Clapton the artist. I heard It's in the Way That You Use It today, and I'm like, this is such a great song. But as a guitar player, he doesn't do much for me. I don't think he's that fucking great. And Forever Man, the guy playing the rhythm track is Steve Lukather. I think Lukather's way better a guitar player and more musical. But it doesn't mean that I don't like Eric Clapton, because I love him as an artist, and that's what he is. He's not putting out instrumental records, and if he did, I wouldn't buy them. So when in the case of Patrice Rushen, here she is a singer singing funk music and soul, and she's she is a world-class piano player. You guys should check her out. Just YouTube her, look up Patrice Rushen playing jazz. She taught at Berkeley for a while. The woman is sick, a fucking wonderful musician. And, people overlook her because, I don't like funk, that's disco. Well, okay. What was it? What was the guy's name? Freddie Washington on bass. Guy was amazing. Oh, Point It Up is fucking phenomenal. I could go, does that crazy walk down after a couple of those volume swells. Ali Thompson, Take a Little Rhythm is a great song from the 70s. I'll have to look it up, Wheat. I want to take a lesson. I agree. Fucking buy more gear, take lessons. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, people always ask me about me playing in my cover band, why I stopped. And for me, it was easy for me to stop because, number one, my singer didn't want to do it because he kept feeling like it was a lot of work and the other guys weren't putting in the work as much and they were making mistakes on stuff. And I'm sure they could have criticisms against him as well because he was lazy or is lazy, and that's fine. But he always got it together. And when we started getting a song down, it's easy to fit in and jump right in when he plays a lot of solo gigs. So when you come into the band should have the song down nuts. And then you just come in and you play your part and everyone's solid. Then it's easy. And then he would have done it, but he didn't want to do it. My issue was, things like they couldn't count. And we used to do Lunatic Fringe, where I played the lap steel on did the whole lap steel thing in Lunatic Fringe, which I loved playing. And that song's a blast for me to play. I love getting the chance when I play to play mandolin, to play lap steel, to play stuff I'm not usually playing. And before the solo in Lunatic Fringe, there is a cut bar of 3/4. The whole song's 4/4, but right before the solo, there's a bar of 3/4. And I swear to God, I could fucking pull every hair out of my head. They couldn't get it. Couldn't get it. It never could come down on the downbeat of 1. And it's like, and I'm playing lap steel, so I'm not like there playing the downbeat. They need to play the downbeat, and then it comes in. So it was frustrating, and shit like that drives me nuts. It's, and then people like who say, well, I don't need to count, I can feel it, but you're not feeling it because you need to count it. If you were feeling it, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. I can feel it. No, you can't. How come you can't get it right? You can't play you can't play that cut bar. Drives me nuts. You know what else drives me nuts? I was watching a video, Chuck was talking to me about a guy who plays 4 sticks. And the guy was saying it goes from 5/4 to 3/4. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. And Chuck was looking at me like I was crazy because he was like, the guy's wrong. And I'm like, yeah. First of all, it's 5/8 because it's a cut bar of 6/8. It's not 5/4. 5/4 is an elongated bar. Whereas 5/8 is a short bar. It's a cut bar. So, and then 3/4 is not 6/8. 6/8 is 2/4. And it's not like we're looking at fractions, folks. That's not how fucking music works. 3/4 is 3 beats per measure. 6/8 is 2 beats per measure, and each beat gets an 8th note triplet. And that's how fucking the song is played in triplet feel. You start off with ba-da, which is a half bar of 2. Well, it's 2/8 on the very first. And then the song kicks in into 5 and it goes 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 2 2 3 1 2 3 2 1 2 1. You know what I'm saying? So it's actually, you would really say it's 1 2 3 2 2 1 2 3 2 2 1 2 3 2 2 1 2 3 2 2 3 1 2 3 2. Well, that's 5/8 6/8. So that irritated me that some guy's teaching drums on YouTube and not counting properly. Bothered me. To say that bar was 3/4 was nuts to me. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, tell me in the chat. I can explain it further, or I can move on. You let me know. All right, Joe. Yeah, it's weird, this thing. I mean, they didn't change it up that much, but in 4/6, there's a constant change between 5/8 and 6/8. You know, like very much like the Allman Brothers in Whipping Post. The main groove to that song is in 12/8. Now, 12/8 is technically 4/4 because it's 8th note triplets over each beat. So it's, you know, I've been lied to 2 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3. It's 4 beats. But in the beginning, it's in 11/8, and that's a shaved bar. You're only counting 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2. So there's only 11 8th note triplets, and one is shaved off. That's why it's 11/8. And then the groove comes in, and it, I've been lied to, and everything goes to 12/8. It goes to a complete bar of 4. So understand it that way, you would understand that 6/8 is just 2 beats. 1 2 3 2 2 3. Yes, no, understand, don't understand. Yeah. Well, timing's important. That's the timing. Anyway, so you can see I'm not a fan of watching a lot of channels. There is one guy, Robert Barnby, I think his name is, who's a jazz player out of England. He's a fantastic fucking player. Just a great fucking guitar player, very knowledgeable. I always enjoy watching his videos when they come up in my feed, which they don't come up that often anymore, I don't know. You know? Yeah. Sick again. I'm trying to hear the song. I haven't heard Sick Again in a long time. Yeah. Well, 5/4 is an extended bar. You know what I mean? You got 5 beats per measure. But if the feel of the song is 6/8 and and you're playing 5, you're playing 5 beats because you shaved a beat, well, that would still be 5/8. The triplet would still be the triplet. It wouldn't be, and it's not 3/4 because it's definitely, there's a difference between a waltz feel and a 6/8. 6/8 has a shuffle feel and a waltz is waltz. You know? Nice. Yeah. I heard you're mad about Brubeck. I like your eyes, I like him too. Right. Yeah, of course you. Because if the Blue Nile hats isn't in the top 3, we're not even having a conversation. You know what I mean? I heard I Would Never today from Blue Nile. It's fucking gorgeous. Gorgeous. The production on hats I love. Even the fucking Lynn drum I love. Yeah. Wait, what did he call it? 40 of the greatest sounding albums? You would have to have in that Steely Dan Asia. Another album is the David Sanborn Bob James album. It's fucking phenomenal, produced by Tommy LaPuma, who also produced Bill Evans' You Must Believe in Spring, which I think is another fantastic sounding jazz record. David Sylvian's Gone to Earth is fucking great. The Lessons, Overbuying Your Next Gibson. Yeah, I mean, I just think people should learn. Music is like, there's a lot of things you can learn in music. I don't teach, what would I say, the more traditional way of looking at music because I think it's confusing to people. And when you look at things in its form, like if you looked at music like I do, so, you look at like, if you numbered the major scale, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? All natural notes. So we know what that relationship is. And that's really evident in our ears, like we hear that. So for me, the melodic minor is just a flat third. I don't sit there and say, it's a natural minor with a raised 6 and a raised 7. Why do I have to say that? It's just take the major scale and flat the third. It's 1, 2, flat 3, 5, 6, 7. And now you don't have to sit there and wonder about it. I'm not too familiar with Automatic for the People. I was never a big REM fan, but so I don't know the album and really didn't listen to it sonically, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the Blue Nile Hats is fantastic. I think another great sounding album is the Roxy Music Avalon album. It's fucking gorgeous. That's a beautiful sounding record. I mean, every song on it's great. Sonically, it's fucking great. The separation of everything is really nice. Earth, Wind, and Fire, All in All, or I Am, take your pick. Either one is just an absolute lesson in producing a large band. Fantastic. For its time, I think Revolver's a great produced album. Yeah, I Am is, yeah, it's Let Your Feelings Show You, I Can't Let Go, In the Stone, After the Love Is Gone. It's, side one alone is a fucking wake-up call. What are you talking, Whip It? Diva Whip It? Or are you thinking of Let It Whip by the Dazz Band? So let it whip, let it whip. You know what song I love? It's a great funk song. It's a song called She's Strange by Cameo. I fucking love She's Strange. It's fantastic. If you guys don't know it, you gotta look it up. She's my Twilight Zone, my Al Capone. Yes. Yes, I did. And I also got to work with some great guys, great producers, and great musicians that I played with. Yeah, She's Strange, great. I got a call. I was going to Vegas for the weekend with my brothers, and I got a call from a girl that was a backup singer for George Clinton, and she's like, this R&B group needs a guitar player to come in and do a session. Can you do it on Friday? Can you do it? It was Thursday. Can you do it tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I'm leaving at like 6 to go to Vegas, so if it's an early thing, I'll do it. So it was like noontime or something, and I had to go to UMG. It was a Universal Music Group, and they had a studio there. And I think that was in Santa Monica, or is it still Santa Monica there, or is it? Yeah, it's still Santa Monica there. I was thinking if it's West LA or not. Oh, it's Santa Monica. Anyway, so I go into the session, and I love My Girl. Love that song, And so I was like, what the fuck tuning is this thing in? Because, they didn't have any charts. So when you go in, usually they give you a chart, and then it's like, okay, well, now I can, if somebody gives you a chart and you hear like what you want playing in the background in your head, well, now I can just look and see what the chart is and play accordingly, and if there's like any altered chords or anything like that. So I just need to know where the fuck I'm going. No charts. So I'm like, no charts? Is there sheet music? No. So I'm like, well, what tuning are we in? Because it's not in tune, so the guy's like, I don't know. So I finally said to the guy, the keyboard was in the control booth. It was like a synth, and I said, can you play the song for me and let me watch you play it? So I watched him play, and I sat there and wrote down the chords myself. I'm like, okay. But it was in E flat. And then I was like, all right. And then the sound that the guy was wanting, he wanted it to sound, I had to play it on acoustic, so he wanted it open. So I dropped down to E flat tune. Well, I didn't drop down to E flat. I made it so the note that I knew that he was playing was E flat. So then I tuned my guitar to that note, which was like between maybe, I can't remember if it was between E flat and E or between E flat and D. But either way, I tuned my guitar down, and then I did the session that way. But it was really tough to hear the chords because there's a lot of, he had a lot of compound chords with like 4s and 3, like 11s and stuff like that. And when you don't know the tuning, I'm sitting there like, so I could kind of hear it, the idea of it, what it was, but I had no idea what tuning it was in. So once I figured that out, but that was an interesting session. And honestly, I thought those guys were mortified by me because I asked a million questions before we got started. And when I played, I only played for like 10 minutes, and they were like, "Yeah, that's great." I'm like, "It was? Let me do it one more time." So I would do it. I did another take, and then I left. And I was, I got paid. I was like, I'm never gonna get called back. I'll never get another gig with these guys. But ended up, that girl called me when I was in Vegas, and she's like, "I don't know what happened there, but they fucking loved you." And I was like, "Really?" I was thinking they hated my guts. They were like, "No, they had a timeline to do it in, and you banged it out." And I said, "Well, I annoyed them with a million questions." She's like, "They don't know anything about music, so they were just kind of glad that you did." I was like, "All right, yeah, it was fine." I don't know if it's, yeah, I mean, session playing is never what you think it is. It's more, most of the times you go in, you're playing something that's ridiculously simple. And you're like, "Why did you call me? You've got to have a friend that could have done this." Like, sometimes it's just basic stuff, but I guess, they just want like someone to go in, play it in time, and not have to mess with it. But it's not like it's like this, like, "Oh man, it was a great time for me," because you don't really get to. I didn't even hear the vocal on the song. So I don't even think I even, to this day, never even heard it. I never even heard the track. I never heard again. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've turned down parts. I had this, there's an Israeli producer in LA, Shahar. Shahar? Shahar? I used to bust his ball all the time. I used to leave him messages going, "Shahar, Shahar." And then I would call him, and his last name was Tabachnik. And I used to go, "Where's Tabachnik?" I used to drive him batty. Anyways, he called me up one day, and he's like, "I need you, bro. I need you for this thing. It's a U2 thing." And at that time, I wasn't into delays. I used a delay like a typical lead player would, but I'm not the guy that sits there and plays with delays and comes up with all the filling tricks like the Edge. That's and people put the Edge down, and I tell you right now, that's a talent. Now, whether it's him or whether it's the guys who produce him, someone's there really coming up with a landscape of delay sounds that I think is beautiful. It just isn't my thing. I love listening to it, but I never sat down on my guitar and said, "Well, how do I play, like Cathedral I could do." But Cathedral's like not, we're talking, and Bad I could probably play. But he wanted a U2 style guitar for this thing. It was for the NFL. I think it was for the NFL commercial, or ESPN it was for, ESPN. Anyways, he kept on raising the fee. And I'm like, "I'm not doing it, dude. I'm not coming out for that gig." He's like, "You're killing me. All right, I'll pay you double." I'm like, "No." And I said to him, I said, "Listen, find the guy that does that. Find the guy that does that, and you will record it and get it down in 2 fucking takes. I go there, we're going to be working on that fucking thing." Oh, Sort of Homecoming's awesome. But I would be there for like an hour because I would never be happy with what I'm hearing, and neither would you. So he was like, "All right, let me call you back. Let me make a few calls and call you back." Well, I never heard from him that day. And then he called me the next day and said he got a guy that was like a player that plays, that tours with that somebody recommended to him. And he says the guy came over and banged it out in 1 take with all these delays. I said, "You see?" And he was like, "You did me the biggest favor by saying no." I'm like, I just know I was not in the mood to go down there in his studio for fucking 6 hours trying to come up with something that's not my thing to do. Gary Moore out in the fields? Oh, you'll crush it. I just heard Out in the Fields the other day. I think Michael Schenker did a cover of that. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, you'll crush it. Out in the fields, the fighting has begun. Yeah, Schenker does a great cover of that. Only because I listen to the Michael Schenker radio. Well, I could probably do, like, I do a lot more delay stuff now than I did back then, because now I run 2 delays in my rig. And when you run 2 delays, it's easier to run a short and a long and get the sound you want. But at the time, I wasn't like, I didn't even have a board. No, I didn't have my board together. Yeah, I had a board together, but it was one delay. And like I said, I used it mainly for like just, slap back. So it's not my thing. So I don't do that. So I'm not gonna go take a gig of shit that I don't do because it's not me. But I mean, I do a wide range of stuff. And so like I used to do a ton of acoustic sessions. I've done sessions on harmonica. I've done sessions on bass. Keyboard, I've played keyboard on sessions. So I've done enough different instruments where I'm on sessions where I can play, because most of the time when you go in, you're just playing in time and nothing difficult. Like I couldn't sit there and play piano solos, but if I need to play a Rhodes, which I did, I played a Rhodes on these tracks for these guys, for Danny Cimbello, and there was some jazz chords, but I can get through all that stuff. That to me that's not a problem. But if they wanted me to play jazz piano, that's not above my pay grade. That's not me. I don't play piano enough to have that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and one of the lessons I think I did a lesson on a song by Gene Kahn called Don't Let It Go to Your Head, where I showed how like the voicing, I'm very particular about voicings and to voice it the way the record sounds. So I know all those record voicings. In fact, there was a guy that used to play live in Easton, Mass, and I would go see him. And he was like, "Oh, come and play my piano and check out what you think of it." So I played a little bit. He was saying to me, how do you know all these chords? And I'm like, well, I like certain voicings. And he's like, you got to teach me. He wanted to take lessons and learn those voicings. And when I played in my funk band, I was very, very much on the keyboard player's ass about, you need to voice it like this, because I'm going to be playing this, and I don't want you on that note. I don't want that note in there. Nice job. Yeah. I thought the cigar would be dry. My humidor has been dry lately, so I just got a new humidipack for it, and I was like, everything's been smoking great, and this is smoking like it's still a little moist, like I have to keep lighting it, which is not a fun thing for me. Just trying to get past that part. I think I got it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and the thing is with players, it's like, I've seen tons of players in my life. Good, bad, whatever. The good players, it doesn't matter what they use. I've seen a guy play and his fucking sound was incredible. And he was playing all Boss shitty pedals. They sound fucking great because the guy can play. And I've seen people playing the most expensive boutique pedals. And the guy used to always say to me, dude, look at this, I'm using this and I'm using that. And I'm thinking in the crowd, when I go back to the crowd, I'm like, this fucking sounds terrible. It just sounds bad. But it has more to do with the playing than anything else. Sometimes people play a little too dark. You guys know Jerry from my show. Jerry comes on my show. When Jerry goes out and plays, Jerry cannot be talked into changing the tone of his amp. It's always too dark for me. It's just a dark sound. And for me, that cuts into the frequency of the other instruments and the voice. And I don't like that. It reminds me of like the early Scorpions when Rudy Schenker on the Flight of the Rainbow album, his amp is dark sound. And Uli comes, it makes Uli sound better because he comes so bright and cutting. He always played a bright sound. I love Uli's guitar sound. In fact, I think, I gotta go back and listen. I think it's Catch Your Train. Catch Your Train might be the best Uli solo where if you want to sit there and say, did he influence Yngwie? Listen to Catch Your Train. There is no fucking way Uli did not influence Yngwie. because you can hear a lot of Yngwie in Catch Your Train. If it's the song I'm thinking of that has this neoclassical type of harmonic minor shred thing going on in it. More so than I hear in any Blackmore riffs. You know, I don't, Blackmore, you know, he was a quick player and did stuff. It doesn't sound the same to me. I don't hear that in Yngwie so much. When I hear Yngwie, I hear early Uli. What do you guys think? You guys must disagree because my thing just went from 20 to 14 people watching. Those 6 people left. They're like, he's smoking a cigar. That's promoting bad health. Okay. I see you now. I agree. You know what? It's like it's not coming up in real time. I don't know why. What I got to do? Oh wait. Yeah, go listen to Virgin Killer, Joe Harvey. Listen to the song Catch Your Train. Uli's playing on it is fucking great. Fucking great. I mean, it's one of those things where now I want to go back and learn it because I was listening to it going, what the fuck? I mean, it just sounds like he's in an amp. Sounds like he's straight into the amp with like a treble boost on his, just like he's slamming that amp. He's definitely in my very short list of favorite players who influenced me as a young player. I just thought he was like so fucking good. I love that sound. I've always been a Strat guy. And I'm attracted to that brighter sound that cuts through, you know? Which is funny to me because Van Halen has a very bright sound for a guy playing a humbucker. It's very bright, which I love. Oh, Jason Becker's fucking unbelievable. Guy's incredible. That kid's a monster. Yeah. I grew up on Kiss. Nah, Eddie's, you can't hate on Eddie, because to me, Eddie is like the hyper, younger, fresher version of Billy Gibbons. When you listen to a fucking great record like ZZ Top, Tres Hombres, a lot of those riffs, I mean, that whole album you could break apart and say Van Halen took this, they took that, they took this, they took that. There's a lot of things going on that Van Halen was like the electrified cocaine version of, cocaine and whiskey version of fucking ZZ Top. And ZZ had, I mean, those fucking Billy's tone on those records. Go back and listen to Tres Hombres. Oh yeah, Lukather. Lukather's in my top 5 probably. I mean, for me, it's like, I love Uli. I love guys like Steve Wariner and country. I love Brian May, and I love Eddie, and those are the guys. And I love Neil Schon, and just I could listen to Journey Escape nonstop and say, listen to fucking Neil Schon. That's a guitar instructional video, instructional album, because here's how you play in a pop band and just. Yeah, same with me. I started on Strat style guitars, and that's just what I'm playing. Yeah, Sean is just, well, to me, Sean is like the less jazzy version of Lukather. Lukather has a lot more jazz chops, which I prefer. I like his jazz chops. He's always super interesting. He's a player's player. And just saying this about Steve Lukather, Lukather also can sing his fucking ass off. He's one of my favorite voices in rock. Absolutely one of my all-time favorite voices. He has a brassy voice. It's just fucking great. Oh yeah, the Kiss shit is very, remember they had the Kenner dolls? The Kiss dolls from Kenner were the original ones from the 70s. I was a Kiss fanatic when I was a kid. When they came out with Dynasty, Dynasty was like The Beginning of the End of Me, and then The Nail in the Coffin was Unmasked. Although I loved Unmasked when it came out, but my favor of it left after like a year. I couldn't listen to it again. I was like, you know what? I'm done with it. Actually, it was 1981, because that album came out in 80. In 81, well, in 80, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell came out. I was like, what the when I first heard Neon Nights, my head exploded. I'll send you the link then, Hugh. You would have to ask Joe. Joe comes up with the top 10s. But Van Halen, Women and Children First came out in 1980. Devo, Freedom of Choice came out in 80. So I started listening to all this different music. And yeah, I'll send you the link. And so there was so much good stuff that by 1981, I remember it clearly, I was in 7th grade, and this kid had, you know, I had just gotten, no, it was before that, because the summer was when The Stroke came out, so that's when Billy Squier came out. So it was like 1981, 7th grade, and this kid was playing Zeppelin 2 and the best of Jethro Tull. And I love songs by Jethro Tull like Well, the Teacher Told Me. I love Teacher. I love a lot of Thick as a Brick is great. But Zeppelin 2, when I heard him playing Zeppelin 2 that day, I was like, I came home and I was like, I said to my dad, I gotta get this album. And my father used to always go to this place called Leechmere. And so my father, he would always have to run to Leechmere for something. And he didn't like going alone. So he would bribe me by buying it. He's like, you want to get an album? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, come to Leechmere with me. And I got Zeppelin 2. And that changed everything. Then I was like, you know what? I got to go back. I got to start playing guitar. I gotta focus on guitar. This is fucking great. And then I got Zeppelin 1, Zeppelin 4. Well, my brother had Zeppelin 4, so I always heard it, but it was like always in the background. And then when I found out who the band was and everything else, I just became like the biggest fan. And of course, when I got Physical Graffiti, that was like, that was it, you know? So. And it's funny because my younger brother, out of all the music that we shared and traded over time, like my brother became a huge Steely Dan fan, and I was a big Steely Dan fan before him. And we always went back and forth with music that I would turn him on and he would turn me on to, but he never got Led Zeppelin. He just never really dug it. And I was a Kiss fan way before that. Like Kiss was the first band. I remember Kiss. The first non-Kiss album that I ever owned, I got in 1978. I was 10 years old. I had Kiss Alive 2, and I got Foreigner Double Vision. The first non-Kiss album. It's fucking great. And I love Double Vision. I think Double Vision is an underrated album as well. I think it sounds great. And just as a rock and roll band, Haitian Divorce. Babs and Clean Willie were in love, they said. So in love, the preacher's face turned red. Yeah, everything. So for Steely Dan, I got greatest hits, I want to say, my senior year in high school, and I had it for like a week. And the songs I loved on it were all the songs from the Royal Scam, so I had to go out and get the Royal Scam, and I got the Royal Scam, and then I was like, I was a fan. I still think the Royal Scam is probably their second best album. I think Asia's a better album, well, more of a pop album, but songs like Caves of Altamara, Haitian Divorce, Everything You Did, the song The Royal Scam, Kid Charlemagne, Don't Take Me Alive. That record's just fucking great. I'm also a huge fan of Fagen's first solo album. The Nightfly, to me, is fantastic. Totally you. Oh, I heard, I was doing cardio today and fucking Spit It Out came on by Slipknot. And I was like, I was fucking pumped. Where you gonna be in the next 5 years? Spit it out. All you wanna do is drag me down. All I wanna do is stamp you out. Oh, it's fucking great. Spit It Out's fantastic. When Slipknot came out, that was like 99, 2000, and I was already like working, doing a lot of sessions. So I knew they came out and heard of them, but it was like really heavy. And at the time I was working, producing a lot more mellow stuff. So I couldn't really give it a good listen. But going back, looking at it, and I listen to it now and I fucking love it. You know, Slipknot's a great band. I wish the drummer was so fucking good. So good. I think All Hope Is Gone is one of the fucking great records. That's a great record. But going back to Foreigner, I think Foreigner Double Vision, Lonely Children's a great song, Spellbinder's a great song. And I like Mick Jones' voice on a couple of the tracks. What song did he sing? He sang, I never knew of the love that we had. Was it Back Where You Belong? Oh, very cool, Hugh. I love Level 42. Mark King, how fucking good is that on bass? And a great singer. Cause there was something about you, baby, and you're right. Head Games was good. They had the different bass player on Head Games. There's just a couple of songs on that album that I thought was sappy. Love on the Telephone was gay. Women in fast cars. Women and da. You know what? To me, it's like a little bit of a peek forward into Foreigner 4. And I didn't love it. Like, I loved Head Games. I thought Dirty White Boy was a great fucking song. I thought Blinded by Science was great. And Rev on the Red Line. But there were some songs on it I didn't love. Whereas on Double Vision, I loved every track. All right, this cigar now is irritating me, so I'm gonna switch it up. If you guys want me to stick around, I should have one more cigar. What will I have? I'm going to go with the Oliva V. This is like a full body cigar, although not full enough for me, but it's a good cigar. Oliva makes some good cigars. The wrapper came off. With Oliva, the V series is the one to get. They have an M series I haven't tried yet, but the O series and G series stinks. Not a fan. The V series, the V and the V Milano, fucking great. Oh yeah, this one's smoking already a lot nicer. This was kept in this is a different humidor this one was in. All right. Yeah, I mean, there's so much fucking good music. It's crazy. And that's like what sucks. You know, when people talk about like, oh, you gotta see this guitar band, or this guy plays guitar for Polyphony. Well, I don't even know what the hell the name of the band is. But I hear their songs and I'm like, I can't listen to this. This isn't music. This is like a math problem. It just doesn't rope me in, and it's not, you know, like I think lyrics matter. And Yeah, there's very few instrumental albums that I would sit there and say that I really like. I mean, of course, I love Al Di Meola's Elegant Gypsy album. Everything on that album I love. I love the sound and vibe on that album. I brought up David Sylvian, Gone to Earth. There's a lot of instrumentals on that, but it's very ethereal, which I like. You know, very Robin Guthrie-ish, even though it's, I think Bill Nelson plays guitar on it, and Robert Fripp. Really good. Killer shit, you know? Where's your gig tomorrow, Hugh? I have a gig tomorrow night at Martini's, my usual Saturday night gig. That's been fun. The last couple of weeks, it's been really busy there. It's gotten like, I would say the word is out that that's the place to be Saturday nights now, because I get there and it's like busy, and then once we stop playing, it's packed, which it's fucking great. You know, they're really happy with us, and we're happy to play there. They treat us really good. Yeah. Let me see if the chat choked on me. Old Whiskey Bond, Glasgow. Oh, nice. Oh, here's some other things I missed. I started playing in 81 and put it down for a number of years. I'm starting to play again now, still suck. Hey, Mikey, I started in 1981 as well. All right, Joe Harvey. Old Whiskey Bond. Good for you, Hugh, getting out there and playing. Yeah, practice. Play those records, put records on and play to records. That's the best way that you can work on timing and everything else. Timing is the most important. I mean, you got to be able to play in time. And I'll tell you, I'm always knocking UFO because I'm not a huge fan of UFO, but I do think the album Obsession is really fucking great. That is a really great record. Yeah, well, I do lessons on, I use what's it called? StreamYard. I do lessons through StreamYard. 77 to 83, what would be the best years for music? I think 80, I'd have to sit there and go over, I think 80 is my favorite. I used to think it was 78, but now I think 80 is definitely my favorite year. And then I would have to sit and go between 81, 77, and 78. One of those three, those would be the next three. Oh, actually 79 is fucking great. 82 is great. I would say 80 is my favorite. Maybe 78, 81, 79, 77, 83, 82. It's hard because I try to think of what albums were released then, because that was really when I was buying music. 80 has a special place for me just because I think like so much fucking killer shit came out. Women and Children First. And, oh yeah. 84. 84 was what Iron Maiden had Power Slave in 84. 84, like, what happened around then was a lot of the fucking metal stuff started going towards glam. And I wasn't a big fan of that movement. Although 1984 had Queensryche Warning, which I like that album a lot. And also I think Ride the Lightning is 84. And that was a good record for that year. '83, I think, was Madonna's first album, and that like fucking dominated the radio at that time, which drove me nuts. But there was some good albums in '83 that came out, but the radio then was killing me. Was Unforgettable Fire 84 or 85? I thought that was 85 for some reason. War was either 83 or 84. And after War, they did that EP, and then Red Rocks Live. I thought 85. Someone looked that up. I thought Unforgettable Fire was 85. Am I wrong? Which I clearly could be. Echo and the Bunnymen, that album from 1987, I think is a perfect album, the eponymous album. Lips Like Sugar, Bedbugs and Ballyhoo, The Game. On the March, Berlin to Bombers Bay. Bombers Bay is my favorite. Well, 84, I think, was the years like Rat, Dokken, and all that stuff, which I liked then, but didn't love it. I was more of a Maiden guy. October 84, okay. Yeah, Unforgettable Fire is one of my, I think it's their best album. I think that's their best record. A Sort of Homecoming. Pride's on that album. Promenade, that's a great record. Yeah, Shout at the Devil I didn't like either. I like the Motley Crue first album, Too Fast for Love, but Shout at the Devil, it was produced better. It was definitely, you know what, I liked it a lot. Looks That Kill, I liked it when it came out. But then when Theater of Pain came out, I reevaluated my love for Motley Crue, and it pretty much died. Home Sweet Home came out, I was like, fuck these guys. I can't even listen to anything now they do. I do still like the album with Starry Eyes, Take Me to the Top. That was a good record. The tone on the album stinks. The guitar tone's terrible, but it's a song-wise, it's a great songs on that album. Yeah, Motley Crue didn't hold the test of time for me. You know, it's funny, as I was listening to Queensryche The Warning like a couple of weeks ago, and I was surprised at how well I still knew the album, and I probably haven't heard it since the 80s. But I remembered every track. I was like, oh, this was great, this was great. I liked that album. We watch the sunrise and hope that it won't be before the storm, before the storm, before the storm, before the fucking killer, man. Shit makes me smile. What else was on Shout at the Devil? Because all I can remember is Looks That Kill. I know they did Helter Skelter, but what was the other? It was Looks That Kill and Shout at the Devil. What else was on that record? When you started out, did you look forward to a particular amp to play through? Nah. I started with a PV Bandit, and I was able to get sounds that I could play, and then the first real amp that I got was the dual rectifier. the first version of the dual rectifier in 1991. And then I got the second version, but it wasn't, it's just I played it and I was like, oh yeah, that's for me. You know, when you play, I have a theory. It's like I'm just looking for a certain sound and I'll do the rest of the playing. Because most of the time when I practice, I never practice with an amp. Oh, the first Smiths album's awesome. Awesome. To the back of your car. Pretty Girls Make Raves. That's a great record, Hugh. 10 Seconds to Love. Oh yeah, I remember that. Knock 'em Dead Kid. I don't know if I remember that one. Bastard. Oh yeah. I'd have to go back and listen to it. I've discounted it because I just remembered the hits, but I remember loving it when I first got it. Cocteau Twins Treasure is fucking phenomenal. Phenomenal, Hugh. Pearly Dewdrops Drop. No, that's on the Pink Opaque. Treasure had Evo, People, Lorelei. Oh, I fucking love Treasure. That's a great record, Hugh. What else was on that album? Pandora. Pandora's a great song. This Mortal Coil, that was also a 4AD band. The rectifier too bassy. Maybe your pickups are bassy, or maybe you just need to turn the bass down on the amp. They have these things on the amps, Joe, called knobs, and you don't have to keep them at 12. You can move them around. You know what I mean? Carnivore, Brian. I'm carnivore. Because if you ask my opinion, I think most of those amps, like whether it's a diesel, PV 5150, any of those high gain amps, they all sound the fucking same. I could sit there and record it and then sit there and tell you it was this one or that one, and you wouldn't know the difference. In fact, I remember, what's that band? Rammstein played Jürgen Rath amps. And the amp tone he's using on fucking Du Hast to me is like, that is a great sounding amp. And again, I don't know if they took the bass out on it and cranked the treble. I don't know if the thing's all at midnight. I have no idea. I don't know what they did, but you have that ability. And when you go to record and you bring your amp into a studio, you know, I can put 3 different mics in front of your amp and your amp's gonna sound 3 different ways going into the board. And then I can go in and EQ your amp to the way I want to hear it, depending on what mic I want to use. So, you know, all that stuff matters. You know, you can. When I record guitar amps, I always put 2 mics on an amp. I always put something of a 57 quality, like either like a Sennheiser 441 or a 57, and then I'll use a ribbon mic. Like a Roya 121 or Coles, any ribbon mic. So I use the 2, and then I can just, between the faders, figure out how I want the amp to sound. That is, if this amp sounds good when I hear it walking into the room. No, but I always heard good things about the old Ampegs. I always hear that people love those old amps. I've never worked with them or anything. No, Rammstein used on Du Hast, it's a Jürgen Rath amplifier. They probably use plugins now, but you know, it's funny. I was friendly with Andy Johns, the engineer, and we were at an amp show at the Van Nuys, I forget what it's called. It's like the airport hotel. It might be called the Airport Hotel, Van Nuys Airport Hotel. And there was an amp show there Lonnie, who you see all the time on Norman's Rare Guitars. Lonnie runs the show. He's a good buddy of mine. And so Lonnie had this show, and I was there with Andy Johns, and we had different guys playing different Vox amps in the room. And Andy Johns says, you know, these amps sound way better than the original amps that everyone's chasing down. He's like, those were so impossible to record and get a good sound with. He goes, these sound fucking great. Which I thought was very interesting, because you only hear, you know, from guitar players who sit there and say, oh, you gotta get the real old Vox AC30, nothing sounds better. And Andy Johns was like, that is not true. He was like, these new ones sound way better. And Andy Johns was the guy, you know, fucking micing them, making sure they sound good coming through the speakers. You know, he was great, Andy Johns. He was the one who put the Benson Echo Rec on Bonham's drums. But Andy was funny, because I hung out with him for a long time at that gig. He wouldn't stop talking to me. He was very talkative. And I was just like, I was like, hey, I'm just glad I'm talking to this guy's a fucking legend. And I gave him my business card and whatnot. So he calls me up like about a month later. And he's like, Dave, I'm really interested in that fucking Vox. I can't get it out of my head how good it sounds. I'm like, yeah, that was good. So he's like, well, do you think you can get me one? I said, well, why would you call me? He goes, don't you work for Vox? I said, no. I wouldn't work for Vox. I was just at the amp show. It's Lonnie's show. He was like, oh. I said, you want the number over at Vox? They'll fucking give you one in a heartbeat. If you say Andy Johns wants a fucking Vox. So I gave him the fucking number, and that was the end of it. It was really funny. He was a really nice guy. You know, there's a great interview, and I forget his name, with the engineer for the album Asia. And it wasn't Jeff Emmerich, it's another guy. And this guy was asking them all these questions about compression, and he was like, we didn't compress anything, we didn't put it on anything. He's like, if there's compression on the record, that's in mastering, but we didn't. It was like, he was, you know, because today it's like people compress the shit out of everything, because that's what everything is to be slammed. And I think there's a way overuse of compression on records now that have been going on for a long time for me. You know, usually people will compress the vocal if the singer isn't really working the mic, or is like really wide range on the mic. You know, I can hear it on like Barbra Streisand's fucking Guilty album. I can hear the compressor on her voice. I don't like it so much when I hear compressor on people's voices. Sometimes there's not much you can do, but I don't think you need it so much. My rule of thumb is put as little as possible on, and don't use it as a separate instrument, like where people do, you know. It's I'll look for that, HK. I like Lance Keltner. I think his channel's fun. He doesn't come up in my feeds either. I didn't even know he was still making videos. You know? But Andy Johns is a fucking legend, you know, just great. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. What I liked about Andy Johns, though, is Andy Johns talks about shit. He's straight, because I asked him a few questions about a few certain things, and he's just very straight about it. He doesn't try to take credit for shit. He's very humble about what he does, and he's there recording. Because guys who just do like the recording and know how to get sounds, they just do it. I mean, production in the, like, you can listen to, what's the guy, Mutt Lange's production, And as Mutt Lange produced and as time goes on, his production becomes more and more what I call absurd. It's just all trickery of how can I make this sound good? How can I make that sound good? You know, back in the early 70s and mid 70s, they were just trying to get the best sound of that instrument and get it to tape, you know, and you know, when now they take drums and they're putting all kinds of noise effects on the snare and padding it in there and making it like a wall of sound. And there's some good to it, I think, some production trickery. But at the same time, it becomes, well, now you don't really have to worry about how shitty your mic on the drums or how the drums sound. Like for me, producers like that do like hard rock stuff, like I think Terry Date is brilliant. I think Terry Date has ears. I can always tell when a producer has ears. Hey, thanks, HK. Hey, have a great night. Mike Stone, yeah, Mike Stone did a lot of great records. He produced a lot of great stuff. He's another guy with great ears. To me, it's like you can hear the guys who have great ears. And Reinhold Mack, to me, has great ears. And so much clarity in everything that he does. And then, you know, like I like Mutt Lange. I just think like that Def Leppard Hysteria record, it sounds great, but there's so much, it's very schlocky at the same time, if that's a word, schlock. It's what's the word I'm looking for? To me, it's at a point where it's a little too much, where I think Pyromania is a great sounding record that he did. I like the sound on that album nicer, and of course, you know, as time goes on, does the sign of the times dictate the fucking overproduction, or is it the producers just get bored and want to hear more stuff going on? They're trying to outdo their last record. I don't know. Because if you listen to Mutt Lange on on Back in Black, that record's produced really nice. And it's the same on For Those About to Rock. There's really no difference. It's like he just recorded, it sounds like he recorded the band and did a great job with his ears and got a great recording. But then I think that AC/DC produced the next album, Flick of the Switch, and it's still just as good, if not better, than For Those About to Rock. But maybe not the song qualities of Back in Black. I think Daniel Lanois has great ears. I really like Daniel Lanois. I mean, there's a lot of producers I really like. There's very few that I don't like, or that I think try to take credit for stuff they engineered when they're producing stuff wasn't that good. And I've talked about that many times. Most of you probably know who I'm talking about. I just don't think he was a great producer. He used to do clinics at my store, and he would never talk about the stuff he actually produced. He would talk about stuff he engineered, because he engineered on bigger records than he produced. And I thought that was bullshit. I was like, I don't know. And there are cases where the engineer is the producer. Like, I give James Guthrie probably more credit for The Wall than I would, whatever his fucking name is. Who did The Wall? The guy who did Kiss Destroyer, what the hell was his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Bob Ezrin, thank you. So Bob Ezrin, wasn't really there for The Wall. He did some arranging stuff and some things, but I think they were very unhappy with him not being around. And Ezrin even came out and said that he really was like not into it and not really present. And James Guthrie, who they basically hired to do the next record, which James Guthrie did the final cut, and you can hear the production is pretty much right on. I love James Guthrie. Thank you. It says, oh, I see, that's because he paid in pounds. Thank you very much, HK. Have a great night. Yeah, anyway. so much this. I mean, I think whoever produced the Echo and the Bunnymen album, Echo and the Bunnymen, I think that's their best produced record. It's the clearest sounding. I think some of the earlier Echo and the Bunnymen albums aren't really produced that well. At least they're not produced that well for me. Oh yeah, that album's flawless. I love that album, Hugh. Yeah, Lenoir. Well, just think what Lenoir did in that particular era. 86, I think that album was 80, 87. So he's doing that album, he's doing the Joshua Tree, he just finished doing Peter Gabriel's So. He was on fire. Great ears on him. Great ears. Lenoir's one of the best. And I can't say that I love any of the U2 stuff after Achtung Baby. I thought Achtung Baby was very good and very much for the time. But then afterwards, everything sounded like it was flat. Well, he always worked with the same few guys, you know. I don't know if you're familiar with the album after that, Storyville from Robbie Robertson had the Blue Nile on that record. They did was it called Playing by the Rules, I think was the name of the song that Buchanan sings with him on. That Robbie album's a must-have. The first solo album, Robbie Robertson, Fallen Angel, Showdown at Big Sky, Darkness at High Noon. Now people, fucking great. The Bodines are on that record, Gabriel's on that record, U2's on Sweet Fire of Love and Testimony. It's great. Breathe in the sweet fire of love. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not alone. Fucking great. Just great. I mean, there's so much great music that has come out in the past, you know, in the past. Today, you look at a fucking record. There's a guy who did a thing about, I saw it, it's like one of the shorts on YouTube. And he's a rapper, and he says he has the #2 song out called Ghost. I don't know who the guy is. The song's called Ghost. He's the artist on the song. He produced it by himself, and he wrote the song by himself. And he's talking about how the #1 record is written by 7 people and produced by 7 people. How do you have a fucking song that's written and produced by 7 people? Hey now, Jan's here. How do you have and today's songs are so shitty, they're not complicated. They're fucking brain dead songs, and you take 7 people to write those fucking dumb lyrics? You took 7 people to produce it? Tom McDonald, thank you, Maurice, that's his name. Glad somebody knew so I can give him at least credit. I don't know the song, I don't know what he does, but he's fucking right. Like, you're going up against a machine of like, the machine is so big that some guy walks in and he's like, I want credit on that. All right, you'll get it. 7 people wrote the song. 7. How do you even write a song with 7 people unless you're playing like in a full fucking Earth, Wind and Fire style band and no one's contributing like that. Give me a break. It's insane. I mean, even the Beatles, every song's McCartney, Lennon, but those guys wrote their own song and then the other guy came in and tweaked it and they had an agreement that they were going to put their name on, both names on every song. Okay, that I understand. 7 fucking names, 7 producers. 2 producers on a record is too much. It just sucks. So Saturday mornings, which I will tomorrow morning, be smoking a cigar with my coffee after breakfast. I always have a Connecticut cigar, which is like, tomorrow I'm going to have the Warhawk from Henry Clay. And I'm going to listen to Steve Wariner Radio, he's a country artist. And all these country songs, Garth Brooks, George Strait, Clint Black, Steve Wariner. I hear these songs, I hear the train beat the drummers are playing, and the sound is fucking unbelievable. You hear the guitar, the pedal steel, the bass, the fiddle, the piano. Everything has a place in the mix. It's gorgeous sounding. The songs are fucking great. They have a lot of feeling. And then you have, and I'm thinking to myself, what happened to country? Even when I listen to like talking about compression, Brad Paisley. Every time you hear Brad Paisley sing, all I hear is the compression on his voice. They compress the living fuck out of him. It just sounds overly compressed. And the songs are shite. I don't know what the hell happened in country music. Everything sounds like Southern rock without the edge. There's no edge to it. It's just boring 4 chords, 1-6-5-4 or 1-5-6-4, I think is the progression everyone uses now. I missed that last name. Yeah, and Holland Dozier and Holland were like a writing team. You know what I'm saying? Those guys were great. They would work off each other. Even 2 guys, you got what was his name's? The guys I love that did all the Philly soul stuff. I can't believe I'm blanking. I'm blanking names tonight like crazy. I love those guys. Gamble and Huff. Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. Those 2 fucking guys, they would come up with ideas, write songs, or one guy writes words, one guy puts the music. Those type of teams I can understand. Sammy Kahn and fucking Jules Stein, I get it. But you don't need 7 guys. Imagine if fucking 5 guys walked into fucking Sammy Kahn and Jules Stein while they're writing just in time, and they're like, hey, we come here to help. Oh, really? Why don't you get me a coffee? And what do you want? You want a donut? All right, good. Yeah, go help. What can you fucking do? You need 7 guys to write a song, and it's a shit song to begin with. Just in Time's a fucking great song from those guys. But these guys writing songs today, 7 guys on it. Unbelievable. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just people are getting their name put on stuff. Oh yeah, I wrote that. Oh really? You wrote the G chord in that song? Because there's 2 chords. So what does every other guy wrote? What would you guys go write every other word? Hey, everyone, write a word down on a piece of paper. We'll put it into the lyrics and we'll give you credit. I don't even get it. Doesn't make sense to me. Music's dead. It's fucking dead. Yeah, I mean, it's in YouTube, it's just pointing out that fact by you have all these guitar players, and some guys are great guitar players. I'm not going to take it away from them. They're great guitar players, but they're not doing anything. They're not making any music. It's whatever you want to say about guys like Van Halen. He wrote soundtracks to our lives. Those songs are embedded, and we hear a certain song and it brings us back to a certain time. I mean, that's what music is for. It's for the song. I don't know if we'll ever make a comeback. The world's a fucked up place. I don't know. Talking about what a fucked up place it is. Okay, this guy has a heart attack on the field playing football, DeMar Hamlin. So he has a heart attack. Some people make some comments, well, maybe it's from the jab, and whatever. People get upset about it. But why get upset about it that someone says that? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But people were right away, no, that's not true. It's because he got hit like this. Yeah, I heard that somebody had that theory also. And since that theory doesn't scare the fuck out of you or upset you, now you're going to say that's what it is. But we don't know what it is. So just shut the fuck up and let's figure out what it is. But will we ever know the truth? Who knows? So now the guy comes back. He goes out on the field. Did anyone see him at the game? He's covered up in a hoodie, covering his face. No camera shows him. I've never seen anything like that in my life. In my life, I've never seen that where, well, I have in the movies when they sit there and they kill the leader of another country, and then they have to, was that called Moon Over Parador? And then they bring in Dreyfus to play him because then they can't really show that it's not him. So I don't understand, it's like, well, you have all these people who are having weird suspicions, and then you still bring them out and you still don't say a fucking thing. You don't let us see his face. Oh, there he is now up in the glass. Oh, there he is being protected by bodyguards. It just seems weird. You wouldn't put a microphone in front of him and have him say, like, glad to be back. You wouldn't have something like that would stop all the nonsense. Older opinion, the thoughts on Elvis, Jim Morrison, Beatles, Black Sabbath. I love Elvis. I love Jim Morrison. I was a fan. I was a huge fan of the Beatles, and I'm a huge fan of Sabbath. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say I love Headless Cross, because I don't. But I love the first five, first up to Sabotage I loved, and then I didn't care for the next two. Although I thought Never Say Die was a decent song. And then I love the Sabbath with Dio. Beatles, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and color it any differently. Look, the Beatles, out of the first 5 albums, Hard Day's Night's a fucking brilliant record. I don't think the others are brilliant records. I think they're good. Hard Day's Night and then Revolver is the next brilliant record. And Revolver Rubber Soul is a 1-2 punch that I thought was fantastic. Well, I'm saying, I don't know why, but I'm saying it seems very suspicious. It's very suspect. If somebody were to come back to a game and he's back, he would put a camera there and he would just say hello to everybody, especially the way he was walking around. He was definitely capable, and of course you would have a camera there to say, hey, can we say hello? People would love to see him say, hey, everybody, I'm all right, but no. Well, why? I don't know why. I'm not saying I do know why. All I'm saying is if you want people to be suspicious, act suspicious. And they're acting suspicious. Oh yeah, there's a whole trend on Twitter, Joe, where people are saying that they don't think that he's, they don't know if he's dead, but they think he might be in more critical condition and not in the condition to go to a game and walk around that guy was walking around. And then there's Damar Hamlin himself. There's a picture of what is supposed to be Damar Hamlin standing in front of a mural painted of Damar Hamlin, and he posted it on Twitter and said, clone. What do you mean clone? It's not him? Well, people already believe it's not him. I think we live in a world today where people can't voice their opinion without people on the other side getting all upset and butthurt, saying, I don't believe that, or that's a scary thought, or that's a right-wing conspiracy. It's a conspiracy? So far, what I've seen on the news is a lot of conspiracies have pointed out to be true, and the people that said it was a conspiracy theory are sitting there with their dick in their hand going, oops. But yeah. Anyways, it's just fucking nuts with the way the world is. And, it sucks. It sucks. Things have to change. I don't know if you guys, seen the Jimmy Dore show. So Jimmy Dore is he's definitely a left-wing guy. Although he's a comedian, but he's definitely waking up and becoming way more anti-establishment and really pointing out fucking crazy shit that's going on. And it's refreshing that he's finally out there admitting it, because for a while he was very much, toeing the line. And he doesn't toe the line anymore, which I like about him. He's basically now ripping on both sides, which I don't really have a problem with. But he called out a couple of things on the right and was really behind them. And I was like, well, good on you, because I know that's against him. That's not his thing. Oh yeah, Bill Hicks was great. Bill Hicks was great. Just ask Dennis Leary, he stole his whole career. But anyways, I mean, it's just fucking crazy that that's the world we live in. And it's like, Joe, what's that guy's name on MSNBC? Joe, I can't remember his name. But he came out and said that he got sick for like 3 months with the bug. And then said he should have got his fourth booster. And it's like, are we in a mental society here? Are we mental? That's what you think you needed? I saw a thing where Jennifer Aniston said, and I'm probably going to get, this is going to be demonetized and everything else because I'm speaking my mind, but Jennifer Aniston came out and she was like, if you don't get the shot, you are not a friend of mine and you don't care about people. Wait, what do you mean I don't care about people? If you want to get it, you're protecting yourself. Why do I need to protect you? Because I don't want to get it. Now you think I can give it to you? How can I give it to you? You got the shot. Oh, so the shot isn't what you're saying it is. Well, it's like talking out of both sides of your mouth at the same time. It doesn't make sense. If the shot worked and all what they were saying about it was real, then you wouldn't give a shit if I got it or not, because I can't give it to you. You know what I mean? If someone said to me, hey Dave, you got the polio shot. Yeah. Okay, well this guy here, be careful, he has polio. Well, I got the shot, what do I give a fuck? He didn't want to get the shot, his family didn't believe in the shot. I don't care. He's risking his own life, not mine. I got the shot. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys saw the video from Project Veritas. That's a very telling video right there of what a fucking who we have at companies and what's going on. Because if the guy was lying, like he claims he was lying, this is the piece of shit that's working at this company. And if he's not lying, it definitely needs to be an investigation. It's really fucked up. You know? But let me just tell you something. People, don't stop questioning people, and stick your ground. Stick your fucking ground. I don't care if you're watching my channel and you got the shot and you're happy you got the shot, that's great. I don't care. I'm not getting it. I never got it. Fuck you. I'll never get it. I don't want it. I don't need it. I've never gotten a flu shot. I don't care. You want to walk around with a mask on your face? Walk around with a mask on your face. You look like a fucking idiot. You look like you fucking think you're Jesse James. And people taking pictures of themselves with their masks on and posting it on Facebook to me was the dumbest fucking, oh thanks, and I know what you look like with a mask. You know what? Leave it on, because you're kind of ugly. And I prefer you in a fucking mask, because I can pretend you're Jesse James holding me up on the fucking train with Bobby Brady. Give me a fucking break. I still see people in my gym wearing the mask. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I will shit on that piece of equipment you're on, and you will ride around in my shit. One guy was fucking spraying around the treadmills, not on the treadmill like you're supposed to clean it. He's spraying this fucking water bottle filled with God knows what cleaner all over in the air and everything. And I said to him, dude, if that gets on me, you got a lot more to worry about than the fucking bug. If you think that's gonna kill you, you got something else coming your way. Spray it on the fucking machine and keep your fucking insanity to yourself. It's unbelievable. Hey, I got a great idea. Let's kill the economy. We'll make everyone walk around in masks. Yeah, Joe, it's fucking dumb. It's fucking dumb. And look, if you believe in it and you want to wear it, wear it. I don't care. I'm not gonna wear it. Oh, you know what, I wanna be healthy, so I'm gonna wear this fucking saliva fucking ridden mask over my face that's got more bacteria in it than fucking Christina Aguilera's underwear. Wait, what was that? Let me get a picture of myself with a mask. What? Are you kidding me? Then we can look back and remember when we were fucking retarded. Oh, okay. There you go. I'm glad you saved that memory so I can go back to you and show it to you. Like when you fucking put a dog's face up to the door and say, don't do that again. Anyways. Just insane. Question everything, folks. And let me tell you, not one opinion matters. Debate is the fucking key. You want to sit there and tell me there's climate change? Let me hear the debate. Let me see your proof, because all I keep seeing is stuff that doesn't come true. But we're fucking the economy, we're giving fucking electric vehicles. Oh yeah, that's gonna work out well when the power goes. And how do we make electricity? Anybody know? Oh yeah, that's right, it's fucking coal. There's a great guy from Oxford University who fucking goes off on people. And he's like, are you gonna stop China? Are you gonna stop poor people from being poor? We're paying $6 I pay $6 for 18 eggs. I must be out of my mind. The world is upside down. Yeah, oh, the batteries are poison. That's more harmful to the fucking environment. Where are you gonna put those, in the ground? Fuck me. I would never even get a fucking hybrid. Just a waste. The brainwashing of the world is what's going on. Well, Jimmy Dore was talking about it, and Jimmy Dore was basically saying that he now had a guy on who was telling him how climate change is bullshit and that the fucking whole thing is bullshit. I mean, everybody knows the climate changes. It goes by the fucking sun. It's the cycle of the sun. When the sun burns hot, when the sun has phases, that's when we go hot, we go cold. 500 years ago, it was way hotter on Earth. There was nothing emitting into anything. It's just people are stupid. It's all for money. Everything is about money and control. And people are stupid. You think back in the 70s, they were telling people that the tone wood affected the guitar? You think they were sitting there saying to people, oh, listen, the tone wood, you gotta get a real nice sounding piece of mahogany. No, they weren't bullshitting people back then. Now they can just fucking tell you and say, hey, we can sell this guitar. We'll say it's tone wood. And we'll tell them this guitar sounds better than the other. Well, in the 70s, guys were playing 70s Les Pauls. Those things are made of concrete. They're fucking heavy as all fucking hell. They sounded fucking great on records. I never heard the fucking difference from a 70s Les Paul to a 60s Les Paul or a 50s Les Paul. I can't hear the fucking difference. I couldn't tell you on a record if Nugent's playing a Les Paul or he's playing the fucking Birdland. Not only do I not know, I don't give a shit. You've got to change the claw on your vibrato, on your tremolo for your Strat, because it's going to have more tone. What? What are you saying? Oh, this bridge has it's a different metal and it works better and it makes the tone better. Oh, really? Well, who used that? What record can I hear that on? Oh, you mean every record I liked was just fine and now you're telling me how to improve it? Show me a record that sounds good, maybe I'll listen to you. Will I be able to hear the difference? No. You're selling bullshit. We are in this should be the snake oil age. This is the age of snake oil where they're selling you bullshit. And see how this all goes right back into a circle? I never liked the Strat until I played this guy's knockoff Strat. Oh yeah, you didn't like a Strat, but now this one that's making actually a 62, the same way the custom shop makes it. Blind tested, you couldn't tell them apart. But now you like the Strat. You're a fucking idiot. Thanks for the clickbait, douchebag. Yeah, it's fucked up. Question everything. Oh, I love that one, Hugh. Jim Lill is fucking awesome. He is awesome. I love Jim Lill. And people's heads explode because it's like the guy's showing you that the fucking wood of the guitar doesn't matter, the speakers don't matter. He shows you that he can make a fucking amp using pedals. Yeah. It's fucked up. When somebody wants to shut out your opinion, look at the way we eat food. The USDA is telling people that fucking eating grains and vegetables and fake oil that's not even fucking should be consumed by human beings, that is healthier than eating an egg and butter. Well, let's take a look. When people were just eating eggs and butter back in the 1800s, nobody had type 2 diabetes. Now they do. Nobody had clogged arteries or heart attacks. Now they do. That's weird. So wait, we bring in the seed oils, now we have all these problems, but we should stay away from something we've been using for 2,000 years when we never had that problem. Interesting. Yeah, and people don't question it. And then they sit there and they sell. We're the only country, or one of two countries, I think there's only two countries, I can't remember what the other one is, that shows where the drug companies can market to the consumer, not to a doctor. You can't write a script, but they're gonna tell me about Ozempic and Rybelsus, or whatever the fuck the thing's called, and sit there and try to sell me, how can I bring my A1C down? Well, I can tell you how to start. Look at the fucking chart that the United States said was healthy and just turn it upside down. And everything they said to eat, you don't eat, and everything they said to avoid, you eat, and you will be healthy. That's what's fucked up. That's the way to do it, Hugh. That's the way people ate for thousands of years. We never had the diseases we have now. People then weren't dying from the same things we're dying from now. And now it's like, oh, but keep eating the garbage we tell you to eat. But now we're going to give you Ozempic. We're going to bring your A1C down. Well, why is your A1C up? If you guys have not seen a video by Chris Knobbe, Knobbe, called Are Seed Oils the Excess of Western Civilization? Go on YouTube and look that video up. It's 45 minutes. He says right in the first 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you tell you in 5 minutes more than I learned as a doctor in med school. It's a 45-minute video, and you will fully understand what I'm talking about when you see his explanation. It's called, it's Chris Knobbe, Dr. Chris Knobbe, Knobbe, Are Seed Oils the Excesses of Western Civilization? And you will see, he is not wrong. Oh, it's fucking great, Hugh, isn't it? I tell people, you want to get your A1C down? Do carnivore for 30 days. That will clear your body, and then we go into, you can go back to eating the way you eat, but you got to stay away from the three things. You have to stay away from processed foods, you have to stay away from flour, sugar, and seed oils, and you'll stay healthy. You have to stay away from those three things. And the main thing is, and I always tell people do carnivore for 30 days because it's the fastest way for you to bring your A1C, get your rest fasting blood sugar down, get your high blood pressure down. You can reverse anything going on in your body, but everything today is a metabolic issue, including depression, all the stuff, people are depressed and people are unhappy and there's suicides. All this has to do with metabolic issues. You are not feeding your brain what you need. You need essential fatty acids. You need essential amino acids. That's what you need to live. You don't need bread to live. You don't need carbohydrates to live. You don't need any of this bullshit to live. What you need is essential amino acids and essential fatty acids. There are plenty of vitamins in beef. Thanks, Joe Hervé. Stay away from TV dinners. It's not good for you. It's crap. Eat real food. Steak, hamburger, chicken, fish. Can you eat vegetables? If you want to eat vegetables, eat vegetables. I don't because I find them toxic. However, if you don't have a problem with your, you're not in a lot of pain, you're young. I'll tell you right now, everyone that has done carnivore with me, Chuck, Nathan, Jim, they cut out vegetables. The first thing they say is they can't believe how all their pains went away. They don't have aches and pains in the morning. They lost all those aches and pains. So that's why I say do it for 30 days. The challenge is 30 days. If you want to continue after 30 days, you can, but if you don't, you bring back food slowly back in, all avoiding seed oils, sugar, and flour. You can eat carrots, but you wait 30 days before you get into carrots. Carrots aren't even that bad. Like I said, it's a lot of, like I say, vegetables, the problem with vegetables are when you eat like something like spinach. Spinach has a lot of oxalates in it. Oxalates can attach to proteins, and it makes it so your body can't absorb. People say, "Oh, but it has all." How do you get your vitamins and minerals if you don't eat vegetables? Well, how do you get your vitamins and minerals? You're not getting it from vegetables. Yes, those vegetables have vitamins and minerals, but they also have things in them, toxins in them, that make it so they don't want you to eat them, which block your body from absorbing them. So you're not getting any of it from that. Cows have 4 stomachs. The first stomach takes all the plant toxins out of the food for the cow to live. Well, that's why beef has lots of vitamins. And not toxic vitamins. It's the perfect food. Bacon. Oh, bacon is so good. There's another video that you should watch. It's called Plants Are Trying to Kill Me by Dr. Is it Anthony Chaffee Anthony Chaffee? He's great. He's been carnivore 22 years, but he studied for his med school. He had to study all the plant stuff, and he goes in pretty good depth of what's going on in them and which ones to avoid. And there's another great doctor, Dr. Palladino, I think his name is, and who's messaging my phone? Oh, it's just emails. He does carnivore, but he eats fruits. He calls it a meat-based diet, but he tells you to stay away from the same shit that I tell you to stay away from. Beelzebub? Was that Richard Simmons? Hello, people. Yeah, well, like I said, a plant can't run away from you. A plant has no way of defending itself, but a plant does have toxins, so you don't eat it. The only thing a plant wants you to eat is the fruit off the plant. That's really what's meant to be food. The plant itself doesn't want to be eaten. So broccoli is terrible for you. Spinach is terrible for you. And look, if I'm wrong, I'd be wrong. But I'm telling you, if you think I'm wrong, put me to the bed. Do carnivore for 30 days. And when you tell me that you don't have any more aches and pains and you feel 20 years younger, ask yourself why. Let me tell you what I don't need. Ozempic, Rybelsus, Relaxium. No, I'm just kidding. Relaxium's the shit that they're always selling on Fox News. Relaxium. Is that a fucking great name? I wish I could get better rest. Anybody know what I should take? How about Relaxium? Who fucking came up with that name? That is fucking awful. I really need to relax. Try Relaxium. Relaxium. Fucking joke. I couldn't buy Relaxium on just the fact that I'm like, you guys couldn't hire somebody to come in here and come up with a better name. Yeah, well, stay away from the bagel. The bagel's the bad part. Everything else you're saying is good. Yeah. Wraps are okay if you're buying Egg Life wraps. Egg Life is a brand that's made from egg whites only. It tastes like a burrito shell, but it's fucking great. Anyways, guys, it is, how long have I gone here? 2 hours and 30 minutes. I am done. I finished 2 cigars. I'm going to go in the house now and relax and watch TV. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks for those, I think it was HK who gave me the tip. If you liked this video, like and subscribe, if you will. Notice I say it at the end of the video, not the beginning. I hate the beginning. If you like this video, hit like and well, how do I know? I'm going to watch the video first. Tell me at the end. All right, everyone. Hey, thanks so much for hanging in there. I have a lesson coming out Monday morning. I have the DL show Monday night. And good one, Joe. Thank you. Yeah, it's getting really busy there, and it's easier for me to just do my gig. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. And as always, very good.